Hey guys, Anders here. Just got done streaming the Battlefield 6 open beta for I think like near 11 hours. After I make this YouTube video, I will be streaming the game again. So if you're watching this on the day that it's uploaded, come to the stream. You know, we got all drops going on. I can give you guys beta access. But I'm going to give you guys my raw first impressions after just playing it, while the thoughts are still fresh in my head. So, if you want to follow Battlefield 6, this is the channel for you. I will be putting out a settings video very soon, ladies and gentlemen, so hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and swing by a stream. First link in the description. Again, I want to thank you guys for the absolutely ridiculous support. This will be the very first time that any of you see me play Battlefield 6, so I'm excited to see your comments and hear your first impressions as well. So, what do I think about the game? Are we back? You know, that's going to be a big discussion, big question. I think we're as back as we're possibly gonna get, you know, like, I think it's unreasonable to want a better game than this at this point in time. Like, with Battlefield 6, the game has some issues, which I'll cover in this video, but I'll fucking take it, man. Like, I had a great time. I played with Karma, my friend Focus, and Blue from Warzone for 10 hours. We all had a blast. We're still gonna have a blast, because we're gonna stream again later. But first impressions of the game, blow 2042 and BF5 completely out of the water. I haven't had this much fun playing Battlefield probably in about 6 years. Now, the game is absolutely harder than Battlefield 2042, okay? So it's going to be a bit of a shock to your system coming into it. You're going to die more. This is simply a higher death, lower kill game. It's more reminiscent of something you would see in Battlefield 3 and 4 in terms of just the feel in the overall game. It's absolutely going to take you some getting used to. It took me about 2 hours to really lock in. The other thing you'll immediately notice is this game's time to kill is definitely very fast. I'm not sure if they implemented any of their time to kill changes they mentioned previously, but the time to kill very fast up close, then it drops off over range. I like the ranged TTK. I just think the CQC TTK, probably from, I don't know, 0 to about 10 meters, is pretty blisteringly fast. All they really need to do, in my opinion, is just make sure they dial it down just a single notch, make it slightly slower, and I think it would be perfect. The gunplay, again, the gunplay changes pretty significantly based on how you actually upgrade your weapon, and you will notice big differences via naked gun and attachment filled gun, so that is something to take into consideration. But I like the gunplay. You know, there was a couple times where I was shooting at people and I was going, okay, well, what the fuck is happening? I'm clearly hitting this guy, but no bullets are actually hitting him. But that didn't happen very often. In general, I didn't have really any noticeable hit registration problems at all, so I'm very, very happy to report that. Can't say the same about Battlefield 2042 at all. If I had to give you guys a reference point for the gunplay, I would consider this gunplay to be a mix of Battlefield 4 and 2042 gunplay. It's definitely beamier than BF4, but you do have to burst at range. You will notice spread. Spread absolutely does matter. The other thing that I personally noticed going from 2042 to BF6 directly is BF6 absolutely has more recoil feel to the weapons, okay? I saw some people saying, oh, BF6's weapons have no recoil. That is completely false. They definitely have harder patterns. That's just a fact. 2042's recoil patterns are straight up vertical, and BF6's are horizontally biased up and to the right for a lot of weapons that I was using. And I can't forget about the hip fire in this game. Hip fire starts out on a lot of weapons fairly mediocre. You know, obviously it's better on shotguns and SMGs and weapons like that, but hip fire in this game is incredibly strong and very, very useful when you get the laser sight attachments. In my opinion, the hip fire in this game is going to be one of your main methods of killing people CQC. It is that important. Reason being is hipfire in this game right now really allows you to bypass a lot of the penalties and weird sway that happens when you aim down sights when moving, and that is huge. I wouldn't consider hipfire to be overpowered, though. It's not like you are beaming people out to even 15 meters. They have to be 0 to about 10 meters in front of you, and if you have a laser sight on your weapon, you're going to be able to kill them. Anything past, I'd say, 10 meters, you're going to have to ADS. Touching on movement and footsteps, I'll get footsteps out of the way. So, footsteps, I really didn't hear them a lot. There were instances where, yes, I was in a silent area and I had some people running around me and I could hear them, but it wasn't like 2042 footsteps where they're so well done. Like, I can just tell exactly where they are. I can tell exactly how far away they are from me. In BF6, there's just so much chaos going on that I feel like the footsteps were just lost in the mix, and I tried switching between a ton of the different audio presets, and it didn't really make a difference. When it comes to movement, I think the movement of Battlefield 6 is actually in a really good place. I really like it, especially after I got used to it. I think it's fairly smooth. It can come off as very clunky at first. Even, you know, if you're used to the movement, it's still a little clunky in my opinion, just because of some of the penalties. Like, for instance, when you land after jumping and you try to quickly ADS, the sway is just so punishing for seemingly no reason. It just makes the game feel a lot clunkier than it really needs to. Other than that, I do enjoy the feeling of strafing back and forth in this game, and even just walking around, I think it does feel pretty locked in. I do like how responsive it feels. I like the slide. I think it's actually very well balanced. You have to really time it correctly. You can't abuse it. And I think, in my opinion, this is probably the best Battlefield slide we've seen since BF5. I'm still undecided as to which slide I like better. I might go with BF5 just because, I don't know, I like directional control. You may see in some of the clips in the background that I am using the, I guess you could say, jump into slide technique, which can get you just a little bit of speed. It's absolutely nothing like Battlefield 2042. This game's pace in general is definitely slower than Battlefield 2042, and you can't push as hard. You can't, like, brute force nearly as many situations. And I think that's actually good, because in 2042, I mean, you guys would know if you're a longtime viewer of the channel, some of the clips in the background gameplay, I'm literally killing, like, 25 people, just ego peeking all of them. That simply doesn't happen in Battlefield 6, partly because of the TTK and partly because of the movement. You definitely have to place every single one of your actions really well in this game. If you make a mistake, you are most likely going to die. Positioning in this Battlefield game matters so much more than in Battlefield 2042, and it can't just be like mediocre positioning like you can get away with in 2042. It has to be like really well thought out, well placed positioning. Moving on to the maps, I hear Reddit is crying that the maps are too small. First of all, these are 2 maps out of how many we're getting at launch? 9, I think. You don't know how large the other maps are going to be. Why are people complaining that these 2 maps that we play on are small? They're not small, especially on Conquest. If you play these maps on Conquest, they feel exactly like, I don't know, Grand Bazaar from Battlefield 3 or something something like that in an urban environment. I think they feel beautifully sized. They flow really well. And in my opinion, they are vastly superior to pretty much anything that we got to play in Battlefield 2042, aside from maybe Redacted. Tying in visibility to the maps real quick, I do have to say the visibility on some of these maps can be very, very difficult to see anything in particular areas. And a lot of that stems from just the sheer amount of smoke and dust and just the way it looks when you're inside of a building looking out into the street. It's so bright, you can't see anything. The visibility could really use some tweaking, in my opinion. Just in the brightness, the way it looks when you're inside of a building looking out. They could tweak that in some way, and I do think that would remedy quite a lot of it. Now, when it comes to the things that I was being actively annoyed with while playing, the shotguns. Shotguns, shotguns, shotguns. Every fucking death, okay? And everyone has them. The assault perk that allows you to carry 2 primary weapons needs to be removed from the game. I don't know why it isn't clear to them that this is blatantly overpowered, but I'll just say it, it's really overpowered. And on top of that, shotguns need a nerf as well because they're just simply too brain dead. They are. They're too easy to use. Balancing shotguns in FPS games like this is always a nightmare because in games like Battlefield, yeah, it's a very fine line, right? There's a fine line between overpowered and useless when it comes to shotguns. And I don't know, in my opinion, they should just remove them from the game, but they're not going to do that. So, I don't know, they could just perhaps make them do less damage or make the spread more punishing, something along those lines. Another thing that was very, very prevalent in gameplay was sniping, particularly on Breakthrough. Sniping is very fucking strong. All right, extremely strong, especially in combination with the Recon class's class traits, the prevention of you healing if you get body shotted from a bolt action, the no revive headshot kill, and of course, when they aim at you, you're spotted. Super strong. Another thing that really needs to be looked at seriously is the removal of the sweet spot mechanic. I can't even tell you how many times I accidentally killed people with the sweet spot. I just shot them in the body just to deal damage to them. I didn't know they were going to die, right? And that's how most people get kills with the sweet spot. It's an RNG mechanic, it's talentless, it's annoying to die to, and it's stupid. It's just straight up stupid game design. I don't know why BF1 didn't teach them this, but devs, please, hey, DICE, you guys made a great game. Remove the sweet spot. It makes the game worse. But separately from the sweet spot, I also just feel like snipers do super high minimum damage. I was seeing body shots for 80 damage sometimes, upwards of 90 damage, and yes, that is partially because of the sweet spot, but minimum damage on snipers should be looked at, maybe a little bit. I have to get really raw statistics on how high the damage really is. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is purely just the sweet spot making me think the minimum damage is too high. All I know is when I was playing, I was getting body shot for upwards of 80 damage a lot. Touching very briefly on weapon builds in this game, I like the attachment system. I think it's pretty cool. I have upgraded, I think, maybe 2 or 3 weapons in the game right now. No, maybe 3 or 4. I like the Ace that you can use, the M4A1. The first AR you get, I think it's called the HK433 maybe, and I use the M249, which I forget what they call it. The attachment system is cool. It's a point system. It allows you to have a lot of customization within your weapons, and I don't think all the attachments are available for this beta, so when the game comes out, there's going to be a lot more customization than we see in the beta. And the last thing that I'm going to cover in this video is the vehicles. I personally felt like tank splash damage was just a little bit too easy to hit, maybe, particularly on that one tank that has an auto cannon. I don't think it's the damage that is the problem. I just think it may be the size of the splash damage radius. They could make it a little smaller, make it a little harder to splash damage infantry, because on some of these maps, tanks were just perma shooting a corner and my whole team was getting blown up. And another thing about tanks that I noticed is, wow, they're difficult to kill. We had some main battle tanks we were shooting RPGs into. I'm talking about upwards of 10, 15 of those fuckers. And I don't know if they were getting triple repaired by people or something, but holy shit. Like, MBTs can take a beating in this game, especially from the front. If you shoot them in the side or the back, obviously, yes, you can take them out a lot faster. But in the game as we were playing, I think we were playing Breakthrough, you just couldn't really get behind him a lot of the times. We were playing against some decent tankers. But maybe they really did have like 3 to 4 people repairing him, and we just simply weren't outputting enough damage, even though we were consistently hitting RPGs on those tanks. So those are my raw first impressions of Battlefield 6. Again, I'm going to be streaming again today, so if you're watching this video on the day it comes out, I'm probably live right now. Swing by the stream, first link in the description, twitch.tv/enders. If you watch on Twitch, you can get beta access from watching my stream for 30 minutes. Overall, I have to say, first impressions are very, very good. This is a beta. Remember that. This isn't the release of the game. And honestly, it kind of feels like the release of this game. I don't know why. But maybe I'm just, you know, traumatized from Battlefield 2042 and BF5's releases, where this beta has impressed me so much that I just feel like this could be released today. One of the things that's super important to point out about this game is the problems are super fucking fixable. There is almost nothing I can point out that is fundamentally just horrible that they have no chance of fixing in the future. I think they can absolutely hammer out pretty much all of the problems in this game. All it takes is some action from the developers. So that's going to do it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know your first impressions. I'm super interested to see what you guys think about this game. Thank you guys so much for watching again. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, follow the stream, and I will see you guys in the next video.
That's 4 people.
Trying to spawn on you, Enders. I'm in. Are they? Oh, I see. Oh, in the window upstairs.